Well, it's time for Frying Pan. I hope. What do you guys think?
It was okay. I didn't hate it. I
Alright.
thought it was better than like the last live action Peter Pan movie.
I'll agree with him.
And what else? I also thought it was better than the Return to Neverland movie, the one where with Wendy's daughter.
The sequel to the Disney's one.
Yeah, I didn't like that one so much. It was better. It was definitely better than that one too, but it's still like it wasn't like. But then again, I never really had too many high hopes for this movie. Anyways, I mean, I saw it because I like the director and stuff, but like. I never really had, like, there was never any point, like, I was never like, oh my god, Pan, I can't wait. I was just like, I'll see it, just see how it is, see what I think. I mean, I don't think it deserves the 23 that it's gotten, but I do think, maybe like in the 30s somewhere, but other than that, yeah, it's not the thing to like, I'll never go back and go, guys, have you heard of Pan? You should watch it.
I didn't go into this having many high hopes anyway. It looked like they were taking a lot of deviations from it. I have to say though,
I'm fine with deviations as long as like they make sense, and they did make sense. It was just, and there were some things I liked about it, but I'll talk about that later. But sorry, you go. Sorry.
Okay, well, for me, this wasn't as bad as I was expecting it to be. It was actually worse.
Really?
Yeah,
really?
this. I mean, you guys know I'm a fan of Peter Pan, and this.
Yeah. I just found that out today.
Well, I know that. I knew it.
Yeah. Okay. So, this totally throws away all of the main themes of Peter Pan, and they trade it all for another chosen one story. Yeah.
That's, if I have to name one problem, that's my biggest problem.
Yeah.
There are a few things, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, because I'm also not a big fan of the Chosen One story so much. Like, it's kind of old and cliched. I mean, I understand the story's supposed to have, like, most stories have the hero's journey that I've learned about in school, about the whole, you have a hero, he gets discovered he has a destiny, but then he kind of rejects it, and then he has someone who kind of, except he didn't have anyone who taught him, sort of. He just kind of, like, Tiger Lily's like, oh, go fight, or something, but it's like, it still kind of followed that journey a bit, but it's still, I felt they could have, I don't know, it just, yeah, one thing, like I said, there were some things I did like I thought there were some fun moments. I thought there were some really well done. Like, I thought Joe Wright did a good job for the most part, even though it was like a lot of it was obviously green screened and CG stuff. But I still thought there were some actually really fun scenes, and there were parts where I was like, ooh, but then there were parts where I'm like, I'm kind of bored.
Yeah.
And there was stuff that also didn't make any sense. Like, so like Tiger Lily's tribe, they're all like Eastern. Like, they're all different race, like the different race, and she's white. Like, that didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And also they exploded balls. That was kind of weird too. But also, and Tinkerbell too. Like, she shows up for a second. It's like, she's Tinkerbell. Like, okay.
Yeah.
I thought the cast did all right.
Yeah, I thought there was good. I thought the cast was great.
The new guy, Levi Miller as Peter, he really overacted though.
I didn't feel so at all. I thought it was fine. I thought there were like, I've seen worse from child actors. I thought he did okay, but I didn't think he was like. I mean, he was definitely better than Aang or Ong or whatever his name was from the last. He was better than him.
I'll give him that. Yeah.
And he's. Because I was fine. None of the acting in this film bugged me.
Really?
One character that did kind of bug me was me, just because you couldn't really tell whose side he was on. Like, one minute he'd be like, I'm your friend, then like, oh, I'm gonna betray you because I'm scared, and then it's just like.
I will say this.
Yeah,
weird.
I will say this. It looked like Hugh Jackman was having a lot of fun.
Yeah, I loved Hugh Jackman in this, and
like, he just loved every moment.
Yeah. Also,
I didn't quite like him as much as Dustin Hoffman as Hook in Hook.
Yeah, I liked one thing I did at the beginning when they're in the orphanage. I kept thinking Peter Pan was gonna go, "Please, ma'am, may I have some more?" I don't know why I kept thinking
like
that.
Oliver Twist. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Also,
Please, ma'am, I have something better than this.
Yeah, but
this sucks.
How do you sneak a pirate ship in World War II London?
Yeah, even like...
Okay, that was kind of funny, just how all the planes just start shooting at the pirate ship as it's flying around. They're like, the enemy ship, it looks like...
At the end, they kind of forgot, like, is there gonna shoot?
Yeah. But why do the pirate ships fly? I mean, at least at the end of the original story, the Captain Hook ship starts flying because Tinkerbell drops fairy dust on it, but...
Yeah. Also,
why do the ships fly in this one?
I don't
Probably
know.
the
Also,
same.
it makes no like. What does the fairy dust do? I mean, besides making Hugh Jackman young, like is it just make people young? Is that it? Like fairy
Yeah,
dust
is that the reason they
think
stay
it's
young?
great.
I always thought it was just Neverland itself, and
I've often heard that Neverland is
But-
actually heaven. You know, like heaven.
Well,
but
That's why no one ever ate.
Peter Pan is it's subtitled "The Boy Who Wouldn't Grow Up." This film does nothing with that. It starts off with
well, it could be.
I started to have slightly high hopes because, well, okay, not high hopes, but just I kind of thought maybe it would try and do something more realistic with why Peter Pan ran away, because in the original story, as well as what we find out at the beginning of the third act of Hook, is that Peter runs away the day he was born because he overheard his mom and dad talking about him growing up, which the idea he didn't like. And I think the problem with that is self-explanatory.
Yeah, there's only one. Infants are usually focused on one thing.
Yeah, so
I'm not gonna say it, but we all know what it is.
So I kind of thought maybe they'd do something more realistic with that, which in that case it would be a reasonable change. But no, in here, his mom drops her off at an orphanage.
Him. You said her.
Okay, yeah. His mom drops him off at this orphanage that's in cahoots with the pirates.
Well, she probably didn't know that. She probably
Which doesn't
didn't know
make a lot of sense to begin with.
Yeah, and so yeah, Peter never runs away. The kids get kidnapped by the pirates, and that's where we find out that he has an extraordinary destiny. And
Oh God, the chosen one again.
yeah,
I don't
it's
because it kind of sucks like to be. I don't like the idea that you're stuck on like a path that you have to follow. It's like you can't do anything else. It's like I mean, it's like yeah, it's just kind of like oh, it doesn't matter. Just do. You have to be this hero. It's not like you can't or whatever. It's just kind of dumb. But I did. I don't know. I liked the visuals and stuff, and I thought there were a lot of fun sequences. Like I thought, for the most part, even like I can ignore as long as there's like some at least enjoyable sequences. I can kind of for the most part ignore most of that stuff. But it still wasn't. Yeah, I do agree that they do a lot of that stuff makes a lot of sense to me. But
one of the casts that sort of flipped was Hook. Sometimes the actor delivered a good performance. Sometimes it felt really forced.
Yeah.
I thought he was fine. I thought he was better than I thought he was in the trailer. Like in the trailer, just they kind of showed him like, "Hi, I'm Hook. Oh, take me on this place." Like this one, he actually did have some. He was a little better. Like I guess they only showed his cheesy moments in the trailer. Like everyone will want to see his cheesy moments, not the good parts.
Yeah.
Also, I'm kind of glad that they didn't show him become evil at the end, like it just out of nowhere. I'm evil now. Like I thought that would
yeah,
been kind of dumb.
but he's always good though, which I guess I mean at the very end, Peter's just randomly like, "Hey, Hook, we'll always be friends, right?" "Oh yeah, sure. What could go wrong?"
Yeah, that joke was kind of lame. Like I don't. Like, you don't have to shove it in. It's kind of a joke where you shove it in your face, like, "Oh, I get it, because they're gonna become enemies later."
Yeah,
that was
which if they do make another or not, I don't care. I
don't blame Joe Wright for this mostly though. It's probably mostly the writer. Maybe he felt they were trying to do.
Yeah,
one of the things.
Joe Wright, he doesn't normally do movies like this. He directed The Soloist. I like The Soloist, and also
Pride and Prejudice
and Pride and Prejudice.
Anna Karenina and Hannah.
Yeah.
Hannah was really good.
Right,
I loved
yeah.
Hannah. Hannah was probably my favorite. Though I've actually heard mostly bad things about The Soloist, but I haven't seen it, so I can't say for real. But I did really like Hannah. I think is probably my favorite film from Joe Wright.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen Anna Karenina either. I want to, but I haven't seen that one yet. But I like Pride and Prejudice, and I didn't see Atonement either. I forgot about Atonement. I didn't see that either.
I gotta see Atonement too. Yeah, that's.
What I really did like about this film, like honestly, I liked the imagination put into this world, put into Neverland. There was some decent thought.
Yeah, there was some interesting. I thought there was some, like I said, there were cool visuals and there's some cool, interesting stuff. It's just, yeah. but like I said, I never really hated this movie. There's nothing about like you. I know you probably don't like it because you've read all Peter Pan and you know all about Peter Pan and stuff. I don't.
Yeah, kind of.
And I'm also not super interested in Peter Pan as much. Like you are, but I'm saying I'm not as big on Peter Pan as you are. So
Yeah.
I didn't mind so much changes that they made. Even it's just because I'm not mainly because I'm not the biggest fan of Peter Pan and all that.
Eh.
Yeah. So to distance myself from the source material, at times the visuals were fine. Other times, like those giant birds totally looked fake. And and also the Indians explode into colored dust for some reason. That looked about as fake as the exploding heads in Kingsman.
Yes, I like that. I like that scene though, but
and the 3D at times was very good, but there was that instance where that guy sticks his cane. It's supposed to look like it's out of the screen because for one shot, the aspect ratio changes, so that it looks like it's moving past the bars.
That could have been a problem with the theater's version or something like that.
I don't think so because his cane is moving past the black bars. So I think that was just a one instance where they were just really trying to emphasize the 3D. It really looks like it's going out of the screen, but no, they just go right back to the full screen right after that shot. Did they really think we wouldn't notice?
Well, like I said, I thought when I saw that, I just kind of thought it was a problem with the version at our theater. Like maybe they got their digital version had a problem or something. Maybe that's what I thought.
I'm actually quite glad the natives weren't like, the
Disney's Peter Pan.
Yeah.
They weren't too.
Well, you can't.
They weren't too like they weren't. I felt they were very. They didn't feel too like advertised. Like they weren't like or something silly. But like I said, my problem was that they were all Asian descent, and then she was white. Like Tiger Lily was white.
Yeah.
How does that make any sense?
Not all.
That was a.
They seem to be mixed.
That is being reported as a controversial casting decision because Rooney Mara is Caucasian.
I mean, that's not usually like.
Who played Smee, though? Was that Jake Johnson? I kind of thought that was Jake Johnson.
No, it wasn't, because he was because Jake Johnson's white. That guy wasn't white.
Yeah. I kind of think Smee was probably like, other than the times where you couldn't tell which side he was on, he was kind of the character that they sort of did right. But,
so, should we talk about one of the sillier aspects? How they're all singing, like...
Smells like Nirvana.
Smells like Teen Spirit.
What is... Teen Spirit, yeah, I'm referring to... Yeah.
Yeah, and Brett Street Bop from the Ramones. Like, I didn't like John had. You have kind of a reason for that, but I didn't.
They do kind of explain that not only do the ships travel through different worlds, they also travel to different eras.
Yeah, okay, but
I still thought that
it doesn't look like Hook does the job though. I mean. So how does he know the song? Why does he want everyone to sing it? Did he just
Blackbeard?
like hear one?
Blackbeard?
Blackbeard, yeah.
Probably.
Sorry,
so
you used to
did
being the
Blackbeard
villain,
just like overhear someone singing it once and say,
Like,
"Hey, I like that song"?
I'm
But how did that person singing it know the lyrics? Because of how Nirvana sings it.
I don't know. Maybe it was like because I guess because they're pirates and you can kind of see how pirates are kind of like punk rockers. I guess. I'm
that
not
was
sure.
the basis.
He kind of looked like a punk rocker.
Yeah.
That was
His
the basis
silly
for
makeup.
Jack Sparrow.
He kind of.
Yeah.
I guess that's the idea. Well, though technically Nirvana's grunge, not punk, but
Yeah.
Ramones are punk though. But still, like, is it just like did they just like want to play songs you'd recognize?
So Hook wants fairy dust to keep him young.
No,
and yet
Blackbeard.
Blackbeard. Sorry, it's
Sorry,
okay.
You're used to Hook being the villain, so
Okay, so
you're gonna keep making that
Blackbeard
mistake.
wants fairy dust to make him young, and yet he wants to drive fairies to extinction, which isn't as complicated as it seems. He doesn't have to go in there and spray them with fire. All you have to do is have everyone say, I don't believe in fairies.
I guess they
You might have to do it like 100 times, but hey, just have them do it once an hour, and I'm sure you'll eventually get the
They did
task
mention
done.
the happy
He pulls
thought,
a
though.
megaphone out of
Yeah,
his pocket.
there's that, yeah.
Oh, I don't believe in fairies.
Yeah.
And they go,
Yeah. I think that in that part with the wire car or whatever it is, when Peter cuts the wire with the sword, I think it would have been coming off the wire a lot sooner than it did. Yeah. So
But yeah, I
then we had just just one scene with Cara Delevingne, or however you say it.
yeah, the actress from Paper Towns.
Yeah.
She's also
So-
a model too.
Yeah. So Margot really is more than just a person. She's a mermaid.
She was all the mermaids.
Yeah, she was all the mermaids.
Yeah. Well, technically, you're like mer jellyfish because they could shock them with a crocodile for some reason. It's like,
Yeah.
like what are they? I kept when I seen that, like, what are they, like, made of jellyfish sort of?
Yeah.
A family picture.
And what the heck was up with that scene in space? When Peter is tied to the ship with a rope, but he goes swinging out into space, and he pushes Saturn out of orbit. Well,
That
like
was weird.
he grows to enormous size. What was up with that?
I don't know. I guess it was like some weird time thingy going on. I don't know.
Yeah,
There's some things I kind of just because it's about a world where with flying with fairies and flying ships. Some things I don't question. 'Cause I'm just like,
even Hook points that out.
yeah.
Like, even
It's
Hook.
like, it's weird, but then again, that's what
Yeah.
this place. You're going to a place called Neverland where people can fly. I don't,
And they give a romantic element with Hook and Tiger
kind
Lily.
of, but they
Really?
don't go. They don't fully go. They don't fully like. They sort of set it up, but then nothing really happens.
Yeah.
Thank God. I'm kind of glad they didn't fully. But I'm pretty sure if there was like, if they got enough, I don't think this is gonna make enough money for a sequel. But like,
Yeah.
maybe you never know. But if it would. Another problem I had wasn't with the movie, was probably with the kid in the back would not shut up half the time. Like, he's like, oh my God, that guy got
Well, that's
punched.
not really a
Oh."
problem with the movie, though.
Yeah, I'm just saying that. Like,
That's
so
true.
that can kind of ruin the experience. You're trying to get into a movie, and then someone will go, "Oh!" You're like, "Huh?" Like I remember, like when I was seeing that produced that "Don't Be Afraid of the Dark" from Guillermo del Toro. This one wouldn't stop screaming every time there was a jump scare. So the jump scares didn't actually work. I was just jumping because that lady kept going. But it's just because like the same thing with Silver Linings Playbook. I love that movie, but when I first saw it, I couldn't really get into it because at the beginning, this one lady did something. That, I'm not going to say what happens, but
Okay.
but stuff like that can take me out of the movie, and that can ruin the experience of the movie for me. completely.
Well, I think we've covered all.
Well, I don't know. There's another logical error. I know that Peter's just a kid, but still, in this note that his mom leaves him, she says, "You will meet me again in this world or another." He reads the rest of the letter in Neverland, and he thinks, "or another." And then when he and Hook get the ship, they say we're steering home. He's like, "No, I'm not leaving this island."
You mean
But-
he just
but in
automatically assumes?
Yeah, he assumes that she's there, but she said in this world or another. So it doesn't really. Well,
Well,
I guess you might.
sure.
I guess you might start with where you are, but
But I'm pretty sure, well, because I think he was sure that she met more of this world. Because I think that was just sort of a cryptic message, and he's like, "Oh, so that's what she meant. So she's probably here." I guess his idea was he was going to look for her here, and maybe if he didn't find her,
Yeah, I
there,
kinda
he was
thought
probably gonna
that,
gone
like-
back to the other world.
I will give it also this, and I'm
Also, the twist that
I
she's
honestly
already
feel
dead,
like-
I saw coming like a mile away. I kind of saw it. I'm like, she's dead.
Yeah, here's the thing though. I feel like I'm giving this movie too much credit, but still, when Blackbeard reveals that he killed her to Peter, I was like, yeah, sure you did. You're gonna find out she's really alive, but actually no.
Also,
So
Yeah, but that was actually a pretty good shot scene though, where he was you could see the shadow of Blackbeard and his eye. I thought that was a good shot because there's some good shot. Like I said, Joe Wright he's a good director, so I thought there's some impressive shots and there's some impressive stuff. It's just that mostly it was all CG. I'm pretty sure it was mostly green screen stuff. I mean, I definitely enjoyed this movie better than Maleficent. I did. Like, I thought Maleficent was kind of boring, and I didn't really care for the changes they made to Maleficent at all. I was like, man, she's like such an interesting villain, and then they turn her into a good guy. Like, what? I mean, I didn't think it was too bad, but I just didn't think it was great.
in the Mermaid Lagoon, when she reveals the whole truth, what more was there to know?
Yeah.
There was like
Yeah,
There was-
nothing.
She didn't really. It was just kind of like, oh, she died, but she died bravely.
Well,
I feel better
yeah.
now.
Well,
like,
he
what?
does find, oh, she was a warrior. Okay, you couldn't have just said that.
She was a warrior. She trained me.
It's kind of implied though, isn't it?
Well, I guess maybe she
Pan-
felt that if she showed him, she would probably believe it. Like maybe he's like, "Your mother was a warrior." I don't believe you. Okay, I'll show you that. Kind of like she just like drowned. Like I'll show you. Just drowned him instantly. That kind of funny. Oh, vision!
Okay.
Version.
I think
Well-
that's all, man.
All right.
Let's get into this decorating.
Yeah.
First with Pop.
Okay. I'm giving this a D. I mean, like I said, I know Peter Pan really well, and just how they switched the main message of Peter Pan with such a cliched story really just pissed me off. So yeah, I'll give it a D.
But I definitely thought my final. I guess I want to kind of give one more. I definitely thought this was better than the Robin Hood prequel because they called that one especially because the title. Because the Robin Hood prequel was called Robin Hood, and this one was just called Pan, which I think Pan is kind of perfect because he's not really the hero Peter Pan yet. He's still just kind
That's
of
true.
Kind of like Star Trek.
Because
Yeah.
that was the problem with Robin Hood. He was called Robin Hood, but he wasn't really Robin Hood yet because he wasn't stealing from the rich. It was the prequel, so he wasn't really. So yeah, but
And Russell Crowe was way too old for playing a young Robin Hood.
yeah. So I definitely thought that this is definitely better than this is definitely not the worst thing I've ever seen. So for me, I give it a bit higher grade. And I liked Hugh Jackman, and I liked some of the acting. I thought the acting I liked mostly everyone. So I'll give this. So for me, I'll give this one a C.
Okay.
I'll give this a C minus.
All right. So yeah, watch The Walk instead.
Or
I mean that just got
Sicario.
a wide release,
Sicario's
so
really good
Or
too.
The Martian.
or The
The
Martian.
Martian's a good
Martian,
one.
definitely.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
But I'm kind of glad that this movie has got a lower rating than Hook, because I love Hook. So
But
the reason that Hook is a better movie than this, it does do something kind of different, but it still keeps in touch with the themes of Peter Pan, and it does have a really interesting premise. What
And
would
it's directed by
happen?
Steven
What would happen if Peter Pan did grow up? So
But anyways, let's talk about. We do have some trailers I don't think you guys have seen because I don't think you guys have seen the one with the. I've seen all the trailers here. I saw the one with the one that I don't think you guys have seen is the football one and Norm of the North. I've seen both of them.
yeah, Norm of the North. That
Oh my
look,
god, that looks stupid.
yeah.
It looks, especially it's the polar bears voiced by Rob Schneider. So yeah,
Oh,
because it just
Oh.
the animation it looks almost not as bad, but almost as bad as Food Fight. Because Food Fight has the stiff act, but it also has the biggest problem with Food Fight I had, especially and with it, and this movie has too, is that the background is for mostly blank. They'll put a few animals in the background, or a few people, but for the most part, the backgrounds are bland and just dull. I mean, because the thing that's better that makes this a little better than Food Fight is the character models, but that's only because the Food Fight was reshot and re-edited and reanimated over and over and over and over. That because if you see the original animation of Food Fight, it's a little better. It looks a bit like there isn't as much dead eyes, and the characters actually move a little better. And there's actually some explanations for stuff like the reason why Charlie Sheen's character is floating on a flying bottle. It was actually an explanation in the original cut, where it was he was on a string. It wasn't just flying out of nowhere for some reason. And the characters were wearing his jerky, like Christopher Lloyd's character. Nothing like that. The football one looks interesting.
Yeah. My All American. That looks
Yeah.
generic as heck.
Yeah, I don't think.
I mean,
I like Aaron Eckhart, so I might check it out for that. And
Yeah.
because I love Aaron Eckhart, so I might check that one out. But other than that, it definitely looks all right. I was when I first saw that trailer, I'm like, is this another religious movie? I'm like, oh no,
Yeah.
it's not. I don't think.
We do have a religious football movie coming out next week though, Woodlawn.
Oh.
Yeah, so I kind of think I'll be sleeping through that, but it might be good. It's got John Voight in it, and Sean Astin again. So
Well, it depends on like John Voight can be a good actor, but he's done some really bad work in the past. Like Anaconda, he was really bad in that.
and Baby Geniuses too.
Oh yeah, and
And
oh,
Getaway.
Karate Dog. That was from the director of Baby Geniuses too.
What?
Yeah. So
Okay, no,
okay,
never
so
mind.
on his
so
role.
Norm of the North looks like the first bad thing that's coming out in January,
Oh,
actually,
God, it was-
other than Ride Along 2.
Yeah, it looks like one of those animated movies too. Especially
Like the villain's
that's
plan doesn't make sense. There's a reason why nobody lives up north
Yeah.
that far.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like especially because it looks like
Evil man.
one of those animated films where they're treating the kids like they're dumb. Like, oh, the kids will like it even if it's just really fast and there's a lot of movement. They'll think it's funny.
Yeah.
They don't try to like treat them.
And
like
at the
they're
same
smart
time,
like Pixar.
and at the same time, we can indoctrinate them. The enemy of nature is man.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
really.
So the other one we haven't discussed yet, at least not here, is the new trailer for Gem and the Holograms, which apparently to fans of the show are saying is just ever so slightly more promising because of the robot. I mean, that's like the first glimpse of high technology
I still don't
in
want
this
to
movie.
see that movie. I've never actually been that interested in the original series to begin with, but still, it's like, it still just looks really boring to me. It still looks kind of
Yeah.
poppy, teen poppiness. Like, it even play like they play a One Direction song. It's basically like,
Yeah.
I don't hate One Direction. Like, they seem like nice guys in real life, but it seems like their music. Like, I'm not a fan of their music. So it feels like they're how I would feel about listening to one of their songs or
Yeah.
something like that.
I actually do want to see the movie after watching some of the show because I feel really bad for the people who are saying that this is going to get this thing that they've cherished for so long is going to get murdered before their eyes.
I kind of do want
And
to
so
check it out
they're
anyways.
choosing not to see it. And
Just
so
because of that.
what I want to do, I want to do them some service. I'm going to check out the show and I'll see it and tell them whether or not they're actually missing out or if it really is as terrible as it looks.
I mean, it has some people I like in it, like Juliette Lewis and the one girl from Insidious Chapter 3 is
Yeah.
one of her friends, I think. But the only thing that really bugged me with that trailer is the end. You'll always be my gem. Like, does your dad just talking like in credit in Hallmark cards?
Yeah. So the movie's directed by John M. Chu. He's insisting that it stays true to the show.
And well, Jason Blum too. He's the
I
one
guess
who's been trying to fight to make this movie. He's like the one I remember
Yeah.
hearing about who wanted like, I want to make this movie. So I'm like, okay, I hope so. Maybe he's a fan, so we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
And there was a featurette that people are talking about that looks like the Misfits might be in it. The Misfits apparently are like a rivalry band.
yeah.
So I don't know. I'll check out the show, find out, and for any Gem fans out there, I'll let you know whether or not you're missing out.
All right.
So next week, as I said, we got Woodlawn. We got, of course, Bridge of Spies.
I'm gonna avoid Woodlawn, but I'll see Bridge of Spies.
I'll
Yeah.
see Bridge.
We've got Goosebumps out next week too.
Ooh.
And
That one
also
I didn't see.
Room. I don't think Room is going to get a very wide release, but if Room is playing anywhere, it looks interesting. And it has a 95% currently.
Oh yeah, that looks really good.
Yeah. All right, so we got a bunch of stuff next week, and I think I'll have time. So-
Okay.
all right.
That might be better by then.
Yeah, you probably will be.
Yeah, if I sound different than usual, it's been I've been really under the weather for like the past 2 days, and
Yeah.
I've just started to recover.